Namaste Yogis. Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining the third part of our journey towards Hanumanasana or splits. So today we are focusing on a body part that you might not immediately think being related to splits, but this is opening the chest, the upper back, and engaging the core, because once you come into the full position you really need to be active in your whole core. And it is a little back bend really. Obviously you're trying to minimise the back bend, but there's heart opening, the core needs to be strong to support the pelvis, so we'll be working that area today. And then in the next session it will be the final session where we're putting it all together to work towards the actual Hanumanasana pose. So today you'll need one block and we'll get started. So a little bit of core work and a gentle back opening to start. So lying down, bend your legs, feet flat, about hip distance, quite close to your bottom. So when you reach your fingertips down, you can almost touch your heels. So we're just going to move dynamically here. On the inhale, we're going to push the heels into the floor, lift the hips and raise the arms up and over behind us. Try to pull the chest back in towards the spine, and then on the exhale we release down, bringing the arms down, coordinating the movement. Good, so inhaling, lifting the hips, bringing the arms back, releasing the chest back towards the spine. Exhale, releasing back down. Inhaling, lifting, pushing the heels into the floor. Exhaling, coordinating the arms and the hips down. Twice more. Inhaling, lifting. Exhaling, releasing. Last time. Inhaling, lifting. Exhaling, releasing down. Good. Okay, so now we are going to take the block, place it flat, and just place the block so the edge of it really comes to just past the sacrum really, so you feel supported here. And then we're going to lift our legs into this kind of tabletop position, like a 90-degree angle. You push the hands into the floor, try to release the shoulders into the floor, and then we're going to start to toe tap. So we toe tap the right toes down and lift up. And that might seem fairly easy first of all, but you've really got to engage the core, pull the lower abdominals in towards the spine to control that movement down. So you're really controlling and then lift back up. So we're going to do that 10 times, so we've done that twice. So exhale down, inhale, lift up. Exhale down, lift up, keeping that core engaged, shoulders releasing. Exhale down, inhale, lift up. 5 more times. Inhale, lift up. Exhale down, inhale, lift up. Releasing down, lift up. Twice more. Exhale down, lift up, and exhale down, lift up. Well done. Now the other side, so we toe tap the left foot down, engaging the core, and lift up. So the movement is really coming from the core muscles, holding everything in. It's not coming from the hip flexors. We exhale down, inhale, lift up. Keep releasing the shoulders, push the hands into the floor. Exhale down. Inhale up. I make that 5. So exhale down 6. Lift up. Exhale down 7. Lift up. Exhale down 8. Inhale up. Exhale down 9. Inhale, lift up. Last time. Exhale down. Inhale, lift up. Well done. So just staying here, just some more movements with the legs. That same principle of engaging the core. This time we start to raise the right leg up, bring it forward, and then release in. So we'll do alternate legs this time. Raise the left leg, bring it forward, really engaging the core, and bend back in. Right leg, release forward, inhale in. Left leg. So just continuing with these movements, thinking about your core. That's where you should feel this movement. Obviously the legs should be active as well, but you shouldn't feel it really in the hip flexors, because the work should be coming from the strong core. Okay, I think twice more on each leg. Left leg up, extend forward, bend in. Last time each side. Right leg up, bring forward, bend it back in. Last time. Left leg up, extend forward, bend back in. Well done. And then carefully bring both feet down, lift your hips, move the block to the side, and then bring your knees into your chest. Give yourselves a bit of a hug. And then we're going to rock and roll along the spine a couple of times. Build some momentum. Come all the way up. Keep the legs bent, hands under the knees. We're going to come into boat pose. So try to keep lifting out of the spine. And then we first of all lift the lower legs. See how that feels. Find your balance. Maybe take the arms away. Stay there or straighten the legs. Keep lifting. Try to smile. Good, and then releasing. Well done. Okay, and then just one more preparation exercise here to really open the back. So if your back still feels quite tight, probably recommend taking the block just at the back of the, well, by the Achilles tendons really, by the heels, because we're going to lift the hips up in a minute into Ustrasana, camel pose, and you might want to have a bit more height to rest the fingertips on the block. Okay, so I'll demonstrate with the block and then I'll take the block away. So we're going to inhale, lift the hips, bring the hips forward, keep the hands on the block, try to open the chest. Maybe tilt the head back if you feel comfortable. If you want to take the block away, you can take the block away, but then you need to really squeeze the shoulder blades, keep lifting the chest to the ceiling, pushing the hips forward. Good, and then exhale, carefully release the hips down. Well done. So hopefully you feel a little bit more open now. So we're going to be using this block quite a lot, so make sure it's handy at the top of the mat. Just put my hair up. Okay, and then from there, just tuck the toes, walk the feet forward, have the feet about hip distance apart. Maybe take the block here actually, rest the fingertips, lengthen the spine, engage the core. Exhale, keeping that length, keep leaning, lengthening the spine. Release into a little bit more of a forward bend. Uttanasana. Good. Back onto the fingertips. And then take your hands to your hips. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Engage the core. Slowly come up. Good. Okay, and then just place the block to one side. Standing with your feet together. Into Tadasana, mountain pose, hands to your heart center. Release the arms, take the arms out wide, reach up, join the palms, look up at the ceiling, really lift, and maybe a tiny little opening of the chest here, lift out of the low back. Good, and release. And then you can bring your hands to your heart center, hinge from the hips, but lengthen the spine. Then release into forward bend. Uttanasana. Inhale onto the fingertips, half forward bend. Exhale, releasing down, so bend the legs if you need to bring the hands flat. Step back to plank pose, top of a push-up, heels back. Head forward, engage the core. And then lift up and back into downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. And as it's the first one, we can pedal the feet, try to spread the fingers, push the palms, inner palms into the floor, so you can really take the weight back into the legs, lengthen the spine, and then really feel like the heels are releasing towards the floor, even if they don't, just have that feeling in your mind. Try to keep the spine long, lift the inner thighs. Good. Then we're going to step the right foot forward into a low lunge, staying on the fingertips, lengthen the chest. And let's bring the left hand flat. We're going to reach that right arm forward. Keep reaching. Good, and then release. Drop that left knee down. Release the hips forward and down. And then we're going to lift up. Bring your arms up. So we're in Anjaneyasana. You can keep the back toes tucked under or bring the top of the back foot down. But let's all just release the arms for a moment, sink the hips forward, exaggerate it. See how that feels, but then we need to pull back slightly, really engage the core, lengthen out of the low back, so we're tilting the pelvis slightly. The right foot feels like it energetically is moving back, and then reach the arms up, look up at the hands, maybe join the palms, maybe open the chest slightly. Good, and then release. Step back to plank. Okay, and this time, drop your knees down. So if you're quite new to this, we're coming down knees, chest, chin. You can stay more of a tabletop pose. And then come down, bend the arms. And then release all the way down. Or if you're more experienced, you can come forward more, bend the elbows, bring the chest down, and then release all the way down. Come onto the forearms, the Sphinx pose. So we push the tops of the feet in the floor, lengthen out of the low back, lift and open the chest. Good, and then release. Bring the hands by the chest. Push the tops of the feet down and just a baby cobra pose. So we're just lifting the chest slightly so the power is coming from the low back. Keep the elbows in against the ribs if you can. Good, release. And then you can lift up and start to sit the hips back towards the feet. Tuck the toes and push back into downward facing dog. Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Good. And then step your left foot forward to a low lunge, staying on the fingertips. Lengthen the spine. You can bring the right hand flat. Extend the left arm forward, keep reaching. Good, and then release. Drop that back knee down. You can keep the toes tucked under or top of the back foot down. Lift up, reach up. So the same principles. Energetically move that left foot back, so it's isometrically moving back. The right foot, it feels like it's pulling forward energetically, so you're stabilising the pelvis, you're lifting out of the low back. Reach up, maybe a tiny chest opening. Good, and release. Lift the back knee, step back to plank. Knees, chest, chin, so choose your variation, either tabletop or this modified push-up position. Release the chest down, and then we release into a gentle cobra pose, shoulders back, away from the ears, lengthen out of the low back. Bring the bottom back towards the heels, tuck the toes, lift up into downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Take a breath. Always come back to your breathing, your pranayama, your life force. If you can, breathe through the nose. Good, and then look forward, lift the heels and walk or tiptoe the feet towards the top of the mat, onto the fingertips, lengthen the spine, half forward bend. Exhale, release into the full forward bend. You can always keep the legs bent but lengthen the spine. And then inhale, floating the body up. Reach the arms. Exhale, hands to the heart center. Good. And again, reaching the arms up. Maybe this time open the chest a little bit more, so really lift out of the low back. Open the chest. And lift back up. You can bring the hands to the heart center, hinge from the hips, lengthen that spine forward. Release into forward bend, Uttanasana. Inhale onto the fingertips, half forward bend. Bring the hands flat. You can bend the legs if you need to. Step back to plank. Good, and we drop the knees down. Bend the elbows, bring that chest forward and down. And release into Cobra Pose, Bhujangasana. Maybe a little bit higher. Push the tops of the feet down, lengthen out of the low back. And then you can bring the bottom back towards the heels, the hips, back towards the heels. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back into downward facing dog. Take a breath. Good, and then we step the right foot forward. Drop that back foot at 90 degrees, so it's heel to arch alignment. That right hip is moving back. We lift up, circle that arm up and round into warrior two. So And I'm facing away from you, but you might be able to see the alignment quite well from here. So lengthen the arms, look over your right shoulder. Take a few breaths. And then circle the arms back so the palms are facing backwards. Bring the arms back. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Squeeze the shoulders together. And maybe you can link the fingers. Squeeze the palms. If you need to keep the arms bent, that's fine. We're just going to open the chest. So keep that right hip moving back. We lift and open the chest. Squeeze the shoulder blades down the back. Good. And release. Okay, so I'm just going to reach for my block. Sorry, I should have said have it ready. Take the block to the inside of that right foot. You're coming into modified side angle pose, Hanumanasana. So exhale, extend to your right. Release the right hand to the block. Keep that left hand on the sacrum for a moment so you can really open the chest. Then maybe that left arm lifts and the left arm comes along by the ear. Keep pushing the right hand into the block so you're taking weight in the back leg. You're lengthening the right side of the body, opening the chest to the ceiling. Keep breathing. Good. And release. And just place the block slightly over to the left side so it's ready for the next side. Lift the back heel, step back to plank, and we'll move through a vinyasa. So we can drop the knees, chest and chin. If you're coming to this more tabletop variation, just bend the elbows slightly, see what feels comfortable, and then you can just release all the way down. Come into a cobra pose, Bhujangasana, lift the chest, tuck the toes, sit the hips back towards the heels, lift up and back into downward facing dog. And then step your left foot forward. Maybe get the block ready here by the inside of the left foot. You can always bring it the highest way as well. I've got mine the medium way. So back foot at 90 degrees, we circle the arm up. Extend the arms, look over the left shoulder. So we're in Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Outer edge of the right foot firmly pushing into the floor. So you feel like the weight is evenly distributed between the legs and the body is in the centre. That right hip is moving back into the midline. You're lunging deeply into that front leg. And then turn the arms back. Bring the arms behind you. Really squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other. Link the hands. Inhale, lift the chest. Squeeze the shoulder blades. And release. Okay, we're coming to that modified side angle pose. So we start to, the hips move to the right slightly. We start to lean to the left. Drop that left hand to the block. Right hand to the sacrum. You start to turn and open the chest to the ceiling. Lengthen the left side of the body. Maybe you raise that right arm. Maybe the arm comes along by the ear. But you keep trying to open that chest to the ceiling. Lean back. Lengthen the left side of the body. Keep breathing. Good, well done. Just place the block to the side. Lift the back heel. Step back to plank. Drop the knees, chest and chin down. Try to control by keeping the elbows against the ribs. Release into cobra pose, Bhujangasana. Or slightly higher into upward facing dog if you feel ready. And then lift up and back. into downward facing dog. Take a couple of restorative breaths. Good. And then lift the heels, look forward, walk or tiptoe the feet towards the hands. Into forward bend, Uttanasana. Inhale, floating the body up, reaching up. Exhale, hands to the heart centre. Okay, just make sure your feet are together. We'll bend the legs, sweep the fingertips, extend the arms up into chair pose. But then straight away bring the hands to the heart centre. Sit the hips a little lower, the hip creases move back, the spine lengthens. And we're going to do a twist. So we're going to twist to the right. The left tricep comes across the right thigh. We turn, we push the hands towards the heart centre to make a lever really, to really open the chest. We keep moving the hip creases back, lengthening the top of the crown of the head forward, opening the chest. Release back to centre, we change sides. Exhale over to the left, hands to the heart centre. This time the left side of the body is opening. We're trying to almost lift the chest away from the thighs, engaging your core as always. Release to centre, and then from there we start to fold over, come into forward bend. Inhale onto the fingertips, half forward bend. Exhale, releasing down. Step back to plank pose. Coming all the way to the floor now. Knees, chest and chin. And then release all the way to the floor. Good, so we're just opening the chest and the hip flexors here in Ardha Bankasana. So we're on the forearms, lengthen out of the low back. We keep pushing in this side, the left forearm into the floor. We pick that back foot up, the right foot. Good, and then we reach that right hand back for the ankle. We keep pushing the right thigh into the floor. Lift the chest. If you're feeling a little more open, you can change the grip so the elbow points up. You can squeeze that foot in towards the right hip a little bit more, but keep pushing the left forearm into the floor. Good, and release. Okay, and we change sides, so pushing the right forearm into the floor this time. We pick the left foot up. We reach that left hand back for the ankle. Chest is facing forward. Top of the left thigh is pushing into the floor. You can maybe change that grip so the elbow points up. Keep breathing. Good, and release. Well done. And then bring the hands by the chest. Cobra pose or upward facing dog. Sit the hips back towards the heels. Lift up, downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha. Lift the heels, look forward, tiptoe or walk forward. Inhale, half forward bend. Exhale, release into full Uttanasana. And inhale, floating the body up. Look up at the hands, exhale, hands to the heart centre. Okay, final standing posture. It's a balancing posture. So it's a good test of how your concentration levels are feeling today. You might notice one side feels different to the other. So we're going to do Hanumanasana, dancer's pose. So let's take the weight into the left leg. So you pull the kneecap up to engage the quadriceps so that standing leg is really strong. The first stage, we pick that right heel up behind us. We reach for the ankle and see how that feels. So we're getting a quad stretch here. Open the shoulders. If that feels okay, you can maybe walk the hand around the foot so you start gripping the inner left foot. But that's a personal preference really. See what feels right for you. And then raise your left arm up. Before we come too far forward, start to lift that right foot. Lean forward very slightly, but try to get some chest opening here. And then when you feel like you can't go any further like that, lean forward more. That left arm can come parallel to the floor and you can lift that back foot up higher. Good, and then carefully release. Okay, so for me that side felt fairly steady, so we'll see what the next side feels like. Normally we have more of a dominant side. Okay, so weight into the right leg, pull the kneecap up, engage the quadriceps, and then we lift that left heel up behind us, reach for the ankle. See how that feels. So a quad stretch here. You might want to change the grip, walk that hand around the foot so you're gripping the inner left foot. Raise your right arm and then start to gently push the left foot into the hand. Keep lifting the chest. And then when you feel like you can't go any further, lean forward slightly. That right arm can come forward and you can lift that back foot higher. Carefully release. Place the left foot down, hands to the heart centre. Well done. How did you get on? Okay, so come back down to the floor again. Final back bend. So we're coming into a supported bridge. So you can have the block the lowest way or the tallest way. So if your back feels quite tight, have it the lowest way. So we sit down first of all, or lie down, sorry, legs bent like we started at the beginning. Feet hip distance, that's key. In fact, if you have got another block, you can always, just for alignment first of all, you can place the block widthways between the feet, so you've got a reference point for the feet and you can squeeze the feet into the block. But that's, up to you. See how you feel. And then you lift the hips, just demonstrate, so that's the block the lowest way like we were doing at the beginning with the core work. Or if you feel more open now, you can lift the hips higher, turn the block, and that block needs to be placed right at the low back, so when you're releasing into the block it feels stable. The block hopefully is upright, it's not at an angle, and it feels comfortable and quite stable. So choosing your option and then pushing the hands into the floor. If you want to, you can link the fingers, push the shoulders and the back of the arms into the floor. bring your right knee first of all towards the chest and really push the left foot into the floor, so you're engaging that left leg. See how that feels. Maybe you start to straighten that right leg, flex the foot, but again you keep pushing that left foot into the floor, so that left leg is active and the pelvis should feel like it's in alignment. Good, and then bend the leg, place the foot back down, and we'll change sides. Push the right foot into the floor, left knee comes towards the chest, really engaging that right foot so you feel like the pelvis is aligned, the chest is pulling back towards the spine, it's not sticking out too much. And maybe you start to extend that left leg, flexing the foot. Feel like that left hip crease is moving forward slightly, aligning the pelvis. Good, and then bend the knee, place the foot back down. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale through the mouth. Good. And then whichever height you've got the block, carefully lift the hips. Just take the block away. Good. And if you've got the other block, just slide that away. And then bring your arms out wide, bend both legs, take your knees over to your right side, and then just carefully bring yourself up to seated, bringing the head up last. And sit in a comfortable seated position with a nice straight spine. Hands to your heart centre. Let's inhale, raise the arms up, lift up, look up at the fingertips. And then exhale slowly through the mouth, releasing the air, bringing the hands back down to your heart centre. Bow the head towards the fingertips. Namaste. Thank you, yogis. I'll see you for part 4, the final session for Journey to Hanumanasana. Thank you.